Hello friends, welcome back. Are you feeling unsure about the Angular services interview questions? Don't worry. In this video, we'll break down the most important topics and knowledge checks to boost your confidence and help you shine. Come, let's get started. Alright, so I'm going to show you some interview questions in a different way and you'll love it. And I would like to know what you see in the comment section. How do you feel at the end of this video? I'm going to explain you how they will ask and how you need to answer, but this time we're going to do something different. So I'm going to log into this website. This is nothing but our outcome of the last full stack video, and here if I go to course, I will select Angular, and at the moment the Angular service, we have 19 questions to take. So let's go and take a text like this. I'll say agree, and you can choose 5 to 19. We will go with 5 so it's easy to cover a lot, and this is in practice mode. This is very important. If you are in practice mode, you'll be able to check the answer right away with the short details as well. So I'm going to go with the practice mode, but if you wanted to really prepare for the exam, go with non-practice mode and then see if you're able to get the correct answer. All right, and then I'm going to start the exam. So here is how it will look. So exam is in progress. This is the first question. So which of these following is true when a service is provided in a component? Are they going to ask you like this? Not really, but idea here is we will understand this question and see what we can answer. But as long as you're able to answer, if they ask you this concept in any format, you'll be able to clear it. That's the whole idea of this video. All right, on particularly Angular services. So here what they're asking us, if a service is provided in a component, what happens? So let's read through it, right? You can guess as we progress this. It says it's shared across all the component. It creates a singleton instance for the whole app. It creates a new instance only for the component and its children. It becomes unavailable. Okay, so the answer, if I have to choose, it will be here. Before we explain this, let me show you how things work. So I'm going to open up the Angular project here. So servers, let's go to servers. Let's take any service. Okay, so if you look at this, the service is configured here. If a class is decorated with the class called like injectable, and look at this, provided in root, which means this service is provided at the top level, like the ng model level, or it's across the application. If you specify like this, then it is provided in all the components. But if I don't do this, or if I provide this course service to a particular component, because the whole idea here, whatever they're asking us, this one, let's go here. Okay, if I say, see, providers, if I say the service is provided here, that's the question. If I provide a service in a component, what happens? Answer is it creates a new instance only for that component and its children's, because every time based on where you're provided, the instance of that service is created. So at this level, if you provide, a new instance is created for this component. Okay, so let's see. If I say show explanation, answer is correct. That's why it's highlighting in green. See, it says when a service is listed in the provided array of component, a new instance is created specific to that component at its descendants in the component tree. Okay, so that is what the answer is. So you should know the whole idea here is where is this provider comes into picture for a service, and if you go to service, what does this do? That is the whole idea here. Okay, I hope you understand this logic. Now let's proceed to the next question. Alright, so the next question is interesting. Which of the following is the best way to implement a singleton service that should be accessible throughout the Angular app? I just explained you. What did I explain you? If you say a service is provided in root, it means across all the components, only one instance of the courses service will be available. So based on what I explained, you can easily find what is the answer. It is using injectable and provided at the root level. None of the other answers are correct. Let's see. See, now the whole idea, again and again I'm saying, you need to understand the concept of Angular service. If someone asks you a question around any of the Angular services, you should be able to answer it. That's how you should clear the interview. If you cannot by heart a question and an answer, nobody is going to ask you like that. Okay, they will try to understand whether you know the concept or not. So based on this question, we already know this is the answer, because I already explained you what this provided in at the root plays into the services. All right, let's proceed with the third one. Great, third one has some coding. So what will be the output when the following component and services setup is used? So let's go over it. So we have a counter service which is injectable, and there is a component here, and in the component the service is provided here. Did you notice we already explained this, right? So let's go and check the child component. So in the child component, what are they doing? They are also injecting a service here. All right, so if you look at this, there is no provided in at root, which means this is not provided to anywhere. And in the main component, they are used in the provider, which means when this component is initialized, a new instance of counter service is given here by the Angular DI. Okay, so for good, in the child component, what are they doing? Child component is nothing but it is present under this, right? Because see, it is present under this. Now, based on the first and second question, the explanation, if a service is provided here, an instance is provided here, that instance is shared across its child also. So when you inject here, automatically you will get the instance. So if this is invoked like increment, what is it doing? Increment is in the service, increment. This stir count plus plus, this will increase and it will log it, which means it should log 1. Let's see, do we have 1? We have here. Okay, so let's take a look at what is the answer. You can guess. Oops, it's first asking us to select. So I'm going to also demonstrate what will happen if I choose a wrong answer here. Okay, this is just for learning purpose. So according to us, if you look at this, let's see, assuming you click the button in the first child, then in the second child, what is logged? So in the parent component, there are 2 child. So when you click the first button here, this would have increased to 0 to 1, and when you click on the second one, it would have increased to 2. So which means it will log 1 and 2. Answer is this. Correct. Because it doesn't matter. In the parent, there is only one instance which is injected, right? Only one instance is provided. How many child uses, it doesn't matter. The same instance is provided to its children's. That's why it is 1 and 2. See, these kind of things they will easily ask you. Okay, so I hope you understand this. And the next question, what is the main purpose of a service in Angular? Okay, so far you know how Angular services work, but what is the reason for using Angular? That's the question about this. The answer is to define a structure of a component. Definitely no. To manage and share data and logic across component, looks yes, because let's go and check the third and fourth one. To style the component, definitely no. To define routing path, no. So the answer is 2, because we are sharing the data and the logic across the component. You write logic in core services and that can be used in any component, right? So that's what it is. See, answer is correct. Now let's go to the next one. The last one. What happens if you forget to add this? That's a great question, right? What happens if you don't do this? Like basically they're asking, if you don't do this, what happens? If you delete this, what happens? That's the question. So if you don't do that, and if you try to inject the service, guess what happens? Angular throws a compile time error, throws a runtime error. It works as expected. It should throw a runtime error. Let's take a look. That's wrong. So this is what the exam is designed here. You can go ahead and choose wrong if you wanted to try it out, and it will tell you what is right and what is wrong. You cannot change the answer, but it's disabled. That's how the system is designed. So basically you should understand that if you don't provide and try to inject that, it will throw you a compile time error. Okay, so let's go Next one. Okay, I think we answered all the 5. We had intermediate and advanced and beginner answers. Let's see what happens, right? So if I say I just provide a honest feedback here based on how you feel about this question. I'm gonna just say good and finish the exam. I can go here. I can actually see this. See, this is the beauty. If you go and do a practice mode, you will see like this. If you go here, it will show you how much score you did, what was wrong. But if you wanted to see, go through the questions, go and choose this one, view in practice mode. Everything is disabled. You can't choose anything, but you can go over your answers. See, this is the one. And let's go through it. For second one, this is the one that we choose. Third one, this is what we choose. Fourth one, fifth one, we choose wrong. I choose intentionally just to show you how it works, but this is what the right answer is. All right, so let's go and take another one so that we will see whether we get a different set of questions this time. Okay, I'm going to choose 5. All right. Which of the following is considered as an anti-pattern in Angular service? This is a new question. This was not there in the previous 5, right? So anti-pattern, let's see what is the answer. So injecting HTTP client in a service? No, this is correct, right? You have to inject the HTTP client in a service to call the HTTP methods. Handling business logic in service? Not really. You can actually do it. The question is anti-pattern. You're like against the pattern. Third one, subscribing to observables inside the service unnecessarily. I'll come here. Using observables to return data. This is normal, right? This is how you return data. Answer is this. Let me show you what they are meaning. If you go to this, right? Here, this is the service and you have a service here. You can do logic here. You can do everything, but you're not subscribing here. You're not saying subscribe. We never do that. If you do that, that's called anti-pattern, because if you subscribe, what will happen? Data will be here. You're not passing the data. You're always supposed to return the observable. The component who's calling will handle it. Okay, so if you do something like this, that's called anti-pattern. So you should know what you should do, what you should not do inside the service. This is the answer. Let's take an example of this explanation. See, this is the explanation. Okay, you're not supposed to do that. All right, next question. What is the purpose of switch map in this service call? So this is the code, piece of code they have given. They're asking, why do you use the switch map? Okay, now I'm not sure how many of you know about switch map. This is an RxJS operator. It's a useful operator, but according to this question, what is the switch map? Does this here. It cancels the previous HTTP call in a new one that comes in, makes both HTTP call in parallel, waits for both call, throws in error. Actually, let's say you don't know what it is, but at least we will come to know. Let's try to understand this. So switch map is used to cancel and the previous calls, like, let's say the user is keep typing. Every type you are invoking a call. We don't want it to find the result for all the thing. We always wanted to find the result for the latest one, right? So what happens is, if you use this, it cancels the previous HTTP call if a new one is coming in. Let's see. See, this is the answer. Okay, so you should know what is the switch map does, whether it is configured inside the service or the one where you're subscribing to it. You can do in both way. All right, so let's go to the next one. All are new questions. Good. Which technique is used to prevent multiple HTTP calls when multiple components request the same data from the service? Wow, that's a good one, right? So basically what they're saying is, if you are invoking a call multiple times from multiple component, which also shares the same data, how do you handle it? Basically you need to have a caching mechanism with RxJS share reply. This is the right answer, and let's see. See, it explains you. Share reply caches the result of an observable, so multiple subscribers get the same shared value without re-executing the HTTP call. It is commonly used in data services to prevent the duplicate of the network calls. Okay, the reason why this explanation is here is, even if you know the answer or guessed it, you should be able to explain them why. Or let's say they will not give you options, right? If they ask you this kind of a question, you should know share reply is the answer and why it actually caches the observable of data. Okay, that's what you need to understand. Okay, let's go to the fourth one. Let's see if we got repeated. I think we got repeated answer. We know already this one. It's 1 and 2. We just got one question repeated. That's okay. The last one. Which of the following best explains why providing a service in a lazy loaded module creates a different instance than the one provided in the root? Let's first understand. So we have lazy modules, right? So if you look at this, let's go to route. Okay, see in Angular 19 in standalone component we have lazy loading implemented very nicely. If you look at this, this is called lazy loading. So whenever they go to this one, then only this module is loaded. So the question here is, let's say in this component there is a service configured here. What they're asking us, if you have some services which is in the lazy loading, what happens? Because the component is not initialized, what is the best that you can explain here? That is what the question is. Okay, so question is around the lazy loading. Okay, so you should know first what is lazy loading, how lazy loading works. There are good videos in the channel. I will give you those in the description. Take a look. Here also it will suggest you those kind of lazy loading and all of those stuff, or you can come here and search for it. Let's go and check this one. So for the lazy loading, right, lazy loading modules are executed before the root module. Services and lazy modules are always registered in the root. So these are the options. The answer is each lazy load module has its own injector hierarchy, meaning every lazy loading module will inject its own services. Okay, because it won't be shared with the same services even if you say provided in root, because that module is lazy loaded. Okay, answer, let's take a look. Answer is correct. So let's say next. Good one. I cannot say by myself. You have to write. You have to try it and say. All right, congratulations. Let's go to the last one. Let's see what's the result. 100%. Everything is correct. All right. So in this video, we covered 10 questions. There are 9 more questions. I would like you to go and check all of those 19 to just excel in Angular services. Now, what I was trying to say is, if you go to this video, you can filter it with lazy loading, and all of those lazy loading concepts are here. In case you wanted to just quickly check this, it just takes you to the YouTube and you can take a look at that. All right, and don't forget, there are many courses and many exams here which is going to come, and as I start this interview videos, I will explain you in detail of how to answer why it is correct. All right, so those concepts are important. All right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends and in your social media. Help grow this channel, and I will see you in the next wonderful interview questions video. Alright guys, stay tuned and bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!